No.
And one more point of clarification on what the Prime Minister said about playing a security role indefinitely in Gaza. Does the U.S. see a distinction between that and reoccupation, or is it one of the same?
I'll let the Prime Minister speak to his comments and what he meant by indefinite. President Biden's been very clear, we don't support a reoccupation of Gaza by the Israeli Defense Forces.
Damn, Celsius went down?
We do think that there needs to be a healthy set of conversations about what post-conflict Gaza looks like and what governance looks like. What we absolutely agree with our Israeli counterparts on is what it
And
can't
Tesla's
look like.
been running for the last couple of minutes here. Another high. IMVT now, too.
John, on
what's Immunivant?
proxy attacks
IMVT and then
on
Avivi.
U.S. troops, we're now up to 40 since October 17th, with 46 service members being injured or reporting traumatic brain injuries. Does the president think that the action that was taken a couple weeks ago to push back on this was enough?
The president felt like those were two legitimate targets directly tied to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps that supports these militia groups. And they
did an offering at
weapons
38 a share.
Certainly
here.
legitimate targets that we believe not only had a practical effect on limiting some of their capability, but sent a strong signal of how seriously we're going to look after our troops and facilities. If and when we decide to respond again in the future, we'll do it at a time and in a manner of our choosing.
They had positive
we will
results
absolutely
last month.
take the action that we need to take. The President, as Commander-in-Chief, will order that action to protect our troops and facilities as he sees fit.
Has there been any additional warning from the president since the last time we responded that this needs to stop? Because clearly the attacks on our troops didn't stop.
I will not get into the decision-making process or options before the Commander-in-Chief. I would just tell you that we will continue to take the action we believe is appropriate to protect our troops and our facilities.
And then on the apparent disagreement between the U.S. and its ally, to some of the other questions that you've already gotten, it is notable that we're seeing the U.S. more readily acknowledge some space between what we're advising and what Israel is doing. Like, Israel appears to be resisting the humanitarian pauses still. The president, the administration have been calling that for a couple of weeks, saying that we don't support indefinite occupation. That was a State Department briefing today after Netanyahu said that Israeli forces could be there for an indefinite period of time. And even in the readout from the call with the Prime Minister, the White House readout used again the language of extremist settlers. This is somewhat notably different than the kinds of language we were hearing immediately after October 7th. So can you characterize the closeness of the relationship right now?
It's extremely close. And we're, as was transmitted by the President in the call of Prime Minister Netanyahu yesterday, we remain solidly behind Israel as they continue to try to eliminate this threat to their people and to their sovereignty, and they're going to continue to get security assistance from the United States. There's no daylight there whatsoever. Now, look, we're friends, and friends don't have to agree on every single nuance and every single word. The Prime Minister speaks for a sovereign nation and for a sovereign people, and he should obviously, be queried about the points that he's making, but it doesn't mean that we're somehow backing away from our friend and our ally Israel, the strongest ally we have in the Middle East, or we're backing off our support for what they're trying to do to protect their people.
Or Netanyahu in particular, given the Politico reporting from a little while ago that was a point of discussion whether he'd be...
I'm not going to get into the confirming that kind of those kind of press reports. I would just tell you these are two men that have known each other a long time. And I don't think it's any shock to anybody that on a political spectrum, they're not exactly always in the same place on every issue. But one thing they do agree on is that Israel has a right to exist as a country. And they have a right and a responsibility to defend that country and their citizens against the threat that was posed to them like on October 7th. And in the United States, they will continue to find a true friend that will continue to support their ability to do that.
Peter.
John, we know about the strikes that took place in northeast Syria a matter of weeks ago. Just to be very clear, have there been any additional U.S. strikes against targets as Iranian-backed proxies in Iraq or in Syria beyond those?
You mean from the United States?
From the United States?
No.
There have not. So just to be clear, then there have been at least 17 attacks on bases that house Americans since that last set of strikes. Will you agree that those strikes did not deter these Iranian-backed proxies from continuing their assault on American bases?
I would certainly agree that there have been continued attacks. I would also note that none of them have been effective, and in many cases thwarted before they could pose any kind of a direct challenge. And that, again, Peter, we'll make the decisions on our own about how and if we're going to respond.
To be clear, if you agree that there have been continued attacks, these 17, isn't that evidence alone? Do you agree that that's evidence alone that it has not deterred them from continuing?
It's certainly evidence that some of these militia groups still believe that there's value in continuing to try to strike at our troops and facilities, and our message to them is, you need to be careful because we're going to do what we have to do to protect our troops and our facilities.
Let me ask about the situation in Gaza then, if I can, very quickly. In Ukraine, the U.S. put restrictions on how some U.S.-provided munitions could be used. There couldn't be any targeting in Russia, for example. Has the U.S. put any restrictions on how Israel can use U.S.-provided munitions in its war with Hamas in Gaza?
As is in keeping with U.S. law, we provide security assistance to any foreign nation, including Israel, with the expectation, the full expectation, that those weapons will be used in keeping with the law of armed conflict. That's no different here for Israel than it is for anybody else. And I want to go back to what I said before, but the message of these groups is, don't and stop. These attacks are unacceptable.
Then if I can ask just to punctuate the last thought that we were just talking about, to be clear, does the U.S.
Yeah, there you go. Tell them.
The laws of war.
Tell them I
is our
told you.
position
Fuck
on
yeah,
this,
don't
on
do it.
conflict. So
All security assistance is governed by the law and governed by a requirement that it be used in keeping with the law of armed conflict.
Acknowledging the wide belief and understanding that Hamas has built tunnels underneath a variety of different locations, including hospitals, is the U.S. comfortable in knowing that Israel would or continue to target hospitals in Gaza?
I won't speak to specific targets, Peter. I think you can understand why I won't do that. It's not a military operation that we're running or leading. The Israeli Defense Forces are conducting these operations.
With the Israelis making their own decision that could include hospitals, right?
As I've said before, when you're fighting in urban warfare, you've got to make some tough choices about your targets. Something could be a completely legal target, but because the civilian casualty count is too high, maybe you don't do it. Maybe you make a policy decision not to do it. These are the kinds of tough decisions that Israeli commanders are going to have to make for themselves. We're going to keep urging them to be as discriminate and careful and cautious as possible.
I'm sorry, you said eight.
Okay, sorry.
John, going to the military
said
installations that had these drone attacks, you talk about protections. What are the protections that you can tell us about that you're seriously? I mean, because for the United States to have military bases attacked and then military personnel injured, is there also a concern that these attacks can spread beyond Syria and Iraq and here and anywhere else in the world?
There's no indication right now that
Right now.
that
Even that, bro.
that there's
it's almost been a
specific
month now.
threats to specific installations.
It's
throughout the
November
region.
7th. It's been 1 month.
That said, we do have a sizable force posture in the Middle East, beyond Iraq and Syria. And in light of what's been going on the last month, of course, the Defense Department is taking a look at that posture and looking at force
Starbucks
protection
on the
and
wall.
making adjustments as necessary, depending on where you live in the region and what the threat level might be. So I won't speak for our commanders, and we never talk about force protection specifically, but we obviously make adjustments as needed. And then to your first question, again, without getting into too much tactical detail about how we attempt to thwart some of these attacks, there are capabilities that we have that permit us to eliminate threats further afield, further away from our bases, and we employ those as appropriate.
Abivai,
that doesn't
Amazon.
mean, and we've seen in just the recent weeks that
TLT?
occasionally
Oh, it's
attacks can
TLF.
get through and get close to a base or even land on a base.
So that protection has to be stepped up because, as you just said, there's some that have gotten through, and this has happened over a 3-week period over and over.
It's an iterative process, April. We're constantly looking at the threat streams and constantly trying to adjust force protection measures to deal with it the best we can. Obviously, in a perfect world, we wouldn't want any attacks on our troops and facilities. The next near perfect world is that
Apple
you
on the
can
high, even
eliminate
dollar
these
on the
threats
low.
before
You got 30 minutes till power hour.
Say left of launch, right before they're launched, and if you can't do
You're
that,
1
then
point
as far
literally
away
under the
from
high.
your people as possible. It's called layered defense, air and missile defense, and the Defense Department is constantly evaluating what that looks like.
And last question on genocide. Let's go to Africa and the Congo. What is the White House doing, or national security or state doing about this genocide that's happening in the DRC?
I'll tell you, I'm going to take your question because I don't have a lot of context for you
Kindle
on that
Duo
today.
also,
I'll take
they're
the
running.
question and we'll get something back to you. But obviously, we're in close touch with African partners across the continent and mindful of a range of these kinds of security threats. And certainly, we don't want to see anybody subjected to genocidal intentions or actions by any group. But let me get back to you with more specifics.
Thank you so much. I have a Russia question and then an East Asia question. Starting with Russia, the U.S. and NATO criticized Russia for pulling out of the CFE. This is the Conventional Arms Treaty. And now the U.S. and NATO are pulling out of the CFE. How do you square that? How do you justify that? And is it the intention of the U.S. and NATO to use that space to expand the footprint of conventional arms, perhaps in Ukraine or elsewhere on the European continent?
My goodness, I don't know how we could justify not pulling out of it, and given that the Russians have decided unilaterally to just throw it in the trash heap. I mean, they they actually did violate it when they invaded Ukraine. So it's disappointing. I wish I could say it was surprising, but it's not. And they left the United States and our NATO allies with no choice but to cease our accommodations and compliance with the treaty as well. As for future force posture, I certainly won't talk about that from this podium. We'll do what we need to do to make sure we can meet our Article 5 commitments to our NATO allies.
Let's see if the bonds give up too.
That could require
so market's
force
been
posture
working.
changes, but
Bonds
I'm
were
not
hitting a high
prepared
that
to
whole
speak to
time,
today.
but now bonds, literally 10 years already bounced a little bit off of that.
Yeah, go ahead. All right, sorry. Can you just update us and bring us up to speed on this Biden-Xi meeting, when it's happening, if it's happening, if the military channel has been reopened, and also when President Biden meets with President Widodo, is he going to be bringing up the Israel-Hamas conflict, and in what context?
No, and I don't know.
Go ahead, John.
Thanks a lot, Green. John, the fact that the Israeli Prime Minister is talking
Shout out
about
to
what the
Data Dog,
security
also
situation
pronounced
would look like
Abify.
in Gaza
Amen,
right
baby.
now,
Data
would
Kev.
that lead you to
God
believe
bless you, baby.
that
God bless you.
this conflict
Shout
is
out
in
to
the end
Abify.
stages in any way?
Again,
Amen.
that would really be up to the Israelis to speak to. This is their operation, so I'm not able to give you a date certain of when things are going to be complete. And Prime Minister Netanyahu has talked about that he foresees potentially lengthy operations here to rid themselves of the threat that Hamas poses. But I think it just makes good sense, no matter how long you think this conflict is going to go on, for people to be
Google
thinking
now,
about what
all right, big
post-conflict
tech.
Gaza needs to
Bonds
look
are
like.
kind of being
It's
weak,
just
but
a
equities are
prudent,
still
responsible
fighting.
thing to do.
NASDAQ 1.1,
Has
SPY
also
0.43,
said
Dow 0.2.
definitively no ceasefire unless there is a return of all hostages. Is that a reasonable position that he's taken?
You'll have to talk to the Prime Minister. Again, we're not going to characterize or armchair quarterback everything he's saying. We still believe that a general ceasefire is not appropriate at this time. And by general ceasefire, we're talking about everybody laying down their arms, for an indefinite period of time
We just
in
don't want
anticipation of peace talks and some sort of negotiated settlement. And we just don't believe that it's the right time for that right now. We do think it is the time to continue to pursue pauses in the fighting of a temporary nature for specific
Tesla
purposes.
again, then you got Google.
Thanks, John. Do you guys have a better sense of how many Palestinians have died in Gaza?
We don't have an exact figure. We don't have the capacity or the capability to provide you an exact figure. We still don't believe that taking the Ministry of Health's numbers at face value is wise, but we can't provide you with an alternative number. We do know that it is in the many, many thousands. I mean, there's no question about that. There have been many thousands.
All right, K-Web, that's more China names running up, but literally they're getting the high now. That tech was not enough to keep you going here. Getting a couple of the reds, but literally last like hour, every red has gotten eaten up. And we're getting 25 minutes till power hour.
count of 10,000 people over the weekend, would you be confident in that estimation?
Again, I'm not going to get into providing some sort of independent verification of those numbers. We're not able to validate those numbers, but we are not walking away from the idea that many, many thousands of innocent people in Gaza, mostly Palestinians, have been killed, injured, displaced, 1.5 million displaced from their homes. And all of that tragedy weighs heavily on the president and all of us here.
Thanks for having me.
Just one more question. My colleagues reported that
It's not only hosted in software for charts, and at the same time, you can create a view for monitor 2, which would be something like a DOM,
I would just say,
time and sales, and our tilt indicator, the functionality of the look and feel. All modules are dockable, meaning you can create layouts how you see fit. If you trade on multiple monitors, at its core, the tilt indicator or the long is inside of TopStep, is key aside. Or I can trade from the DOM. The DOM allows me to enter market orders as well as place pending limit orders, just like every other platform. However, here's the key difference. Once that trade is executed and my position is open, I now have the ability to control and manage that position. What do I mean by that? Simple. Just grab the position on the chart and drag up to set your profit target and down to set your risk limit. If this was a short position, I would drag up to set my risk and down to set my profit. The values will automatically calculate in real time, letting you know exactly how much room you have to work both ways. As you scale in and out of a position, the profit and risk parameters will also automatically update. No longer will you have to do quick math in your head to determine your risk and reward for each position that you have on. I've demonstrated how to set this too. Don't worry about trading the front month contract. TopStep X will always show you the front month you hit your date. Finally, number 4, to the 8 most common products.
Associate ourselves with the word containment.
But don't worry, in the coming weeks, we will look to expand this list to many more products. Next, you'll notice on the left-hand navigation that there are a few different options. Alongside of the trading interface, you can access TopStep TV with just a click of a button. This is a 24/7 stream of TopStep TV available directly in our platform. So once our YouTube stream ends, you can go to TopStep TV and you can watch Tilt, music, and charts 24/7. We also have the Trader Hub, which lists an economic event calendar, market news, upcoming TopStep TV guide, and more. This, again, will also be greatly expanded in the near future. The last thing to mention on the menu is the live chat feature, built directly into TopStep X. No more having to leave your platform to request help. Just click the help icon and immediately...
Submarine now that's in the Central Command area of responsibility. We don't normally talk about submarines that way, but we felt it was important to lay that out there. We've added air and missile defense capabilities to the region, fixed-wing fighter aircraft to the region. I think the President has made it very clear how seriously he takes our interests.
And how would you categorize our diplomatic efforts in that region?
Secretary Blinken just left from yet another whirlwind tour around the region, the second in almost as many weeks, and you know we've got officials going in and out of the region all the time. We're very much focused on that, and now we've got a brand new ambassador to Israel in Jack Lew.
And do you feel confident in the efforts that have been put forward?
Confident in
those efforts that have been put forward with Blinken and going forward. Do you feel confident with what's gone on?
We feel confident that we're doing everything we can to support our ally and partner and to make it clear that we're going to protect and defend our interests in the Middle East.
All right, a couple more.
Can you talk about what metrics, or if the White House does have metrics to determine what Israel is accomplishing? You said you don't know, or you can't. Is it that you don't know, or you can't say how many Hamas leaders have been killed? Do you know? To what extent Israel has destroyed military capabilities of Hamas? What are the metrics?
We can't independently verify some of these numbers going on casualties. We're not on the ground. We don't have. It's not like in Iraq and Afghanistan where we had the facility to measure the impact militarily against the outcomes we were trying to achieve. These are operations being conducted by a sovereign military, the Israeli Defense Forces, and they, and only they, should be speaking to the outcomes the results that they're having. We're not in the business of analyzing and measuring what they're doing in their operation. These are their operations.
Does the White House not then have metrics to determine what?
We are not measuring, analyzing, independently assessing. These are Israeli Defense Force operations. It's not that I don't want to make too much of the comparison, but we don't do that for Ukraine either. We're not every day measuring, analyzing, assessing everything that Ukraine is or is not doing on the battlefield. Do we have a sense? Yes. But we let the Ukrainian military speak for what they're doing. We don't make it a habit to speak for foreign militaries.
Thank you. I just want to follow up on my colleague's
I don't know if
question
Outlook,
here.
I didn't check, but they didn't move
United
during the
States is not
conference.
analyzing
I'll check right now.
The sort of impact on the ground. How can you be confident that the laws of war are not being broken?
When I say analyzing, I mean, it's not like we're creating a stack of PowerPoint slides every day on every operation that the Israelis are conducting.
Yeah, there's no headlines
These
on
are
it.
their operations. Now, we're in constant communication with them. And so the sense we get from how they're doing is from our communications with them. But we aren't, I couldn't, produce a set of sheets for you.
Have been killed.
We
don't
have,
feel confident in the number of civilians that have been killed.
we can't independently verify to a person how many have been killed. We know that many, many thousands have been.
Then how in the world would you know? Or you're just sort of assuming that what the Israelis do?
We have ways of collecting information. We can talk to humanitarian aid organizations that are on the ground. Certainly, we're talking to our Israeli
bonds,
counterparts.
stocks still
It's not like
slipping
we
a
don't
little
have
bit.
an idea, but
20 minutes till power out. Oh, right when I say that, it gets a greedy candle every time. But again, bonds a little bit. They've given up their rally from here.
But
So they're lower on the last like 30, 40 minutes.
Because now that more humanitarian aid is going
Again,
in,
you
we
can
have
see the
ability
bounce
to
here.
talk to those aid organizations to get a sense of what they're seeing on the ground.
Wing the back.
Yes, thank you, Karim. John Amos Hochstein is in Lebanon today. Amos Hochstein is in Lebanon today, and he met with the former Intel chief Abbas Brahim, who was invited in the White House in 2020 for mediation for the Americans detained in Syria. So, are you seeking a mediation from the Lebanese on the hostages?
I don't have much more detail about Amos's agenda. He is in the region. He frequently travels to the region, and we certainly look forward to hearing from him. What he's learning from his discussions. I would just tell you on the hostages, we're working on this every day, if not by the hour, to get certainly the American hostages out, but also to help get released everybody who's being held hostage by Hamas. And that's something that the whole team is working on.
And one second question to follow up on Brian's question. When yesterday the Israeli Prime Minister contradicted what Secretary Blinken said in the Hill. He said that you don't see Hamas ruling Gaza, you don't see Israel ruling Gaza. Also, we saw this public disagreement between Secretary Blinken and two Arab foreign ministers in a press conference in Jordan. We're seeing also the Iranians
a little harder now.
not deterred and keep attacking.
I mean, lowest you've been in at least an hour.
Does this concern you regarding the leverage of the United
Hour
States
45.
in the region?
So again, this
People
was
say
that first
things
little rally
publicly that
there.
they don't always say privately. And I'll let foreign leaders speak for themselves in their countries. American leadership has been key here since attacks of October 7th. American leadership, President Biden's personal involvement, has led to this humanitarian aid getting in. Obviously not enough, but it wasn't happening before he personally got involved. It was President Biden's leadership and this team's work here at the National Security Council in the White House that helped get American hostages home, as well as those two Israeli citizens. And that is continuing to work to get our citizens out from Rafah crossing, hopefully more today. We have been at the center of trying to make sure people in Gaza are getting the aid they need and getting out those who need to get out and can get out, as well as making sure that Israel has the capabilities it needs to defend itself.
Go ahead, Jake.
Thank you, Corinne, and thank you, Admiral. As we sit here, hundreds of rockets are raining down on Israeli cities, and I'm wondering if you would know, is this all from the original stockpile, or are rockets being smuggled in somehow?
I couldn't answer that question. I don't have the information and the context to be able to answer that.
You're looking into it, right?
I will look into it.
He's just throw some shade.
You've said multiple times that family members.
But you look in there again,
Americans
instant green bar. Again, none of this is moving off of any headlines right now.
Can you define family member, please?
The State Department is probably a better place to go for whether there's a textbook definition for family members, but we do know that family members, spouses, children in particular, are able to get out.
The State Department has been in contact with some people through congressional offices, and the understanding that my colleagues have from talking to those people who are trapped in Gaza is that family member definition is being used very narrow. For instance, parents of U.S. citizens only one parent may accompany a U.S. citizen if they're under 21. If they are not a minor, then the citizen's not a minor, then they can only go out with a spouse, not siblings, not parents. Why such a narrow definition of family?
I'd have to refer you to the State Department. They're the ones that are handling the list of people that are qualified to get out and making sure that they're keeping them informed.
Right, and last one.
Yeah. So on the Iranian proxies, why isn't the president's message of don't getting through that?
You'd have to talk to the proxies there. What I would tell you is that they continue to attack American troops and facilities at their own peril, and we will do what we need to do. The president will make decisions on his own terms and in his own way about better protecting those troops and facilities. That they continue to do this at their own peril.
So I want to get your take on this. Backing out a little bit, does the president see the new axis of evil, Russia, Iran, and China?
The president's not slapping bumper stickers on axes of evil. What he's concerned about is making sure that we can protect and defend our national security interests around the world. And that includes in the Indo-Pacific. And I don't want to, Karine will kill me if I stand up here and talk much longer, but I mean, you and I could have an hour-long discussion about the things that this president has done to shore up alliances and partnerships all over the world to look after our national security interests. But we're not slapping bumper stickers on countries. We know that Russia presents an acute threat, certainly on the European continent. We know that China represents a strategic competitor challenge in the Indo-Pacific and around the world. And we certainly are not blind to what Iran's doing, supporting Putin's war in Ukraine and supporting these terrorist groups throughout the Middle East. Thank you.
Appreciate
That wasn't too long, was it?
Thank you. Thanks, Admiral. Appreciate it. All right, so Ning.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie though, Karine got some nice outfits, bro. I've been liking her swag. Why are we zooming out like this?
National security supplemental has to have what you call the credible border solution to be able to pass the Senate. First of all, does the White House have any readout of that conversation?
So I don't have a readout of that conversation, as you know, the president having been vice president and of course senator.
All right, I'm giving her like two questions and then we're
36
done.
years. He has many relationships.
It's almost power hour.
With folks in Congress, just don't have.
Unless you want, but then we can just kill 10 minutes until power hour.
Obviously,
Sickness on the
with
wall.
Leader McConnell. What I will say is I know that, and as you all have reported, the Senate Republicans did push forward a border security legislation. We certainly think that if they are going to be serious, then they should have a serious conversation with us about it. It is not something that we see it as that particular legislation they put forward as being all that serious. And we have been very clear. There's a reason why the president included a supplemental.
Because I said I like her outfits. I like the pink.
If they want to have that conversation,
she's been hitting y'all with swag lately, bro. I don't know if y'all, she's not good at her job, but she could dress.
Or they should just support
what do you want me to say?
What the president put forward. And so
we
just don't see anything in their proposal about creating, for example, an earned path to citizenship for Dreamers and others. There are things that are fundamentally missing, and we want to have a serious conversation, but we need to see something a lot more serious.
Cameco halted, news pending, CCJ.
Obviously, the White House doesn't like that specific proposal yesterday, but is the White House open to any sort of policy changes as it relates to the border in conjunction with the supplemental? Are you only entertaining
negotiations on the funding side of border issues.
Yeah,
So
and
look,
be on
as
the
it
high
relates to the
too.
border, you've heard us say time and time again, our immigration system is
Time
broken. It's
after
been broken for
time.
some time now, for some
If you
decades.
cross, we won't
And Congress, they
prosecute
have the power to
anybody.
change that. They have
Time
the power
after
to put
time.
forth a comprehensive piece of legislation, like the president did on his
Never
first day
tried a political parody
in this
like that.
administration, putting forth
Yeah,
a
what do you
comprehensive
mean?
immigration legislation. And so they can address it. Only they can do that. And so, look, we want to have a serious conversation. We want to be able to talk to Republicans and see how we move forward in a real way. But, we believe that if Congress is serious, they should fund what the president put forward.
One more question.
And that's
one more
how we
question
believe
after
should
this.
be
You'll
moved
get through it.
forward. How we
You'll
should
get
move
through it.
forward on
Kirby,
this.
we needed to
But this-
hear
they're
about the
not
war a
serious.
little
What we
bit
saw
again.
from
I mean, the
Senate
headline. You
Republicans
got
is
headlines
serious,
every day, but
piece of legislation.
I mean, in a weird way, you're either really involved or you've checked out with the market.
I mean, look, I'm not going to negotiate from the podium here, but what I can say is that the president took this very seriously when it comes to a broken immigration system, put forth a comprehensive piece of legislation to deal with this. He obviously included this in his emergency supplemental, border security.
Are any of the other materials running off of
fund that.
CCJ?
They are going to be very serious as it relates
There's
to
uranium.
policy changes. Look,
I
the
think
president already
Alcoa
put
move. You have
forth what he
MOS
believes,
after the bell too for
how
earnings.
to move forward in fixing a broken
Kind of similar, not really,
immigration
but
system.
remember they all
a system
moved in
that has
tandem.
that has been broken under a Democratic president and also a Republican president.
Thanks, Kareem. Has President Biden seen the polls from CBS News and New York Times that were out this weekend?
His lowest
that
poll
show
rating
he's
ever.
beating, the former president if they were to go against each other in 2024?
So, first, let me just
UNH
be
and
clear.
Humana are on the high right now.
Anything related to 2024, and I also want to be very clear here. Like, we have to really take these polls with a grain of salt, as we should really be very mindful here. And one of the reasons why is just a year ago, right?
You sure you don't want to keep listening to this?
There was the red wave that never materialized, right? And then back in October of 22, there were multiple stories about how there was going to be a red wave, Democrats were going to be wiped out, and we're not talking about that, what we were seeing back in October of 2022. Look, and I'll take it even further. In 2011, this time in 2011, we saw Senator Romney, we saw polls of Senator Romney beating President Obama, and that's where those polls were. And so, look, our focus, obviously, is going to be doing what the president was elected to do, which is focusing on delivering for the American people. And there's going to be a lot of polls out there. Until the next couple of months, there's going to be a lot of dozens and dozens of polls. It's not my job or my job from here to analyze these polls. Obviously, there are going to be folks on TV who are going to be doing that. It's a whole cottage industry out there when it comes to polling. So, just not going to get into it. Obviously, we see the reporting just like you all obviously are either reporting it or see the reporting yourselves.
So President Biden has seen them.
Obviously, we've all here at the White House has seen the polling. I'm just saying that we have to
he
take
has
them,
seen them.
as a general rule. We should.
That's all
take
we were
these
asking.
polling
Did
with
he
a grain
see
of salt.
the
Thank you. And one
38%?
more on the poet from Canada, Rupi Kaur. She recently posted that she has rejected the White House's invitation to the Diwali celebration, adding that she was surprised that the administration finds it acceptable to celebrate Diwali when their support of the current atrocities against Palestinians represent the exact opposite of what this holiday means to many of us. Do you have a response to her?
So I did not see that reporting. I can't really comment to it directly. What I can say is the president's been very, very clear on the conflict that we're obviously currently seeing in Israel and Hamas in the Middle East, and I'm just going to stick there, and everybody has their own opinion. We respect folks' opinion. That is her opinion. But the president has been very, very clear and just like the Admiral said at the beginning of this of the briefing, how when 1 month ago, what all of you reported, and the atrocities that we saw on that day, and 1,400 souls were slaughtered. And so the president has been very clear. I just don't have anything else to add.
Thanks, Kareem.
Kareem, can I ask you, there's been on social media and frankly on news broadcasts, a lot of videos of individuals who have been tearing down signs, many of these taking place in New York City, of Israelis presently being held hostage in Gaza. There have been some tense confrontations that have taken place there. Is the White House's view that these actions should be condemned, the pulling down of them, or that that's a form of peaceful protest?
Look, I've sort of kind of seen the reporting here and there. I think it was from last week.
Sort of kind of seen it. All right, Chattadonia. Get ready. 5 minutes till power hour. Market all over the place, but up mainly. Again, all over the place because you see a lot of red candles, but you are still maintaining a new high from the rally. You are 7 points higher than the high of Friday, and we got a couple of earnings after the bell. No signs of weakness in the bond auction, but now, I mean, we still got to deal with Powell tomorrow, and then this will be 7 days in a row if we close green. So we'll see what happens here. You now have 1 hour and 5 minutes, 4 minutes, but we're a little bit behind schedule. I don't know where the volume went. And what I mean by schedule is earnings previews. Actually, volume did die. Hour number 3 at 9:30? We were at 38 million. So I guess in the last 2 hours we did just under 10 million. Since then, and again, you're holding up where you held last time. This is the part that sucks. You start pulling this chart out. I mean, it wasn't too long ago. Last time in October we were here, this was the last time you had any rally, and then you got pooped on afterwards. But now, I mean, it traded similar. You spent 5 days here. You spent almost a week and a half trading up in this range the last time we got here. So we will see. Remember, Powell, very, very big day, but let us do some earnings previews. So here's the deal. Some of the earnings previews I'm missing. So one, I need you to like the video, but if anybody else, Troy, Jesus, anybody, if you would like to take it upon yourselves to find an earnings preview, you can send it to me. Otherwise, I just planned on skipping them. But I don't have an earnings preview for Rivian. And I think that was it. There's one more. I think it was just Rivian. Surprising. I know everybody wants Rivian, so I thought they were gonna. That's why I'm asking, because they're gonna get mad at me if I don't have it. They're gonna be like, "Oh, you don't like Rivian? You couldn't find the earnings preview." Cameco and Brookfield complete acquisition of Westinghouse. Oh, Lucy, I need to get Mara too, actually, for the Tiger Man. That's the one Tiger Man wanted, correct? I already have all those, all the Dutch Bros, all the what was the other one? Somebody said something else. I had that up there though. Bros, I got Bros. So 2 people want Dutch Bros. Or the same person just spammed it. Was it Riot? Oh, you wanted Riot, not Mara. My bad. I'll get you that. But I have them ready to go. You just got to like the video. So you already know I have them ready to go. So I'm going to tell you either way. So if you just don't like the video, that's okay. I love you. I hope there's what's it called? Lumps of coal of shame. Because I'm gonna just hug the shit out of you still, no matter what. Even if you don't like the video, we still love you, no matter what. So God bless you. Now let's see what the first. Why isn't it loading, man? Where's Riot? To Riot, we're gonna have to throw that to the back of the line though. So hopefully that's okay. Okay, Spy's still fighting around up here. Alrighty. Yeah, there's no preview for Riot either, unfortunately, actually. So I can actually wait. No. Yeah. What is this for? I just have this whole, I have a broader analyst thing on crypto names. I don't think I'm in any of the positions, no. I'm still writing stuff like Netflix and Cart and some other plays from a couple of weeks ago, but have not made anything new as of late. So even for I'm in Oxy, actually. So I have that one too. People care about Rivian. It's popular. Oh, damn it. I just loaded it up. All right, here it is. So first one I have, I'm just going in order of the list. We have Dominion or Devon Energy. Again, I couldn't get the Rivian, so until we get the Rivian, you guys are going to be a little SOL on that one. Anything else you could let me know, but for Dominion or Devon, I don't know why I keep calling it Dominion, production expected to be 664 million barrels of energy a day versus guidance of 658 to 680. Where's revenue? Average realized price, oil 80.12, gas 190, natural gas or NGLs 21.59. Cash from operations before changes in working capital, 1.79 billion. CapEx 883 versus guidance of 900. Free cash flow of 923 and EPS of $1.56. Next quarter guidance expected to be production of 654 million barrels per day. Cash from operations 1.87 billion. CapEx 827 million. EPS $1.70. Full year production 659 million barrels a day. Cash from operations before changes in working capital 6.84 billion. CapEx 3.74 billion, and then EPS $5.96. Since last quarter, they've dropped 11.9 August 1st. S&P down 5.7, and then XLE is up by 0.6. Near-term options imply a 6.2% move. Last 4 quarters, stock has moved loss of 7, loss of 4, loss of 10, loss of 13. Revenue has beaten consensus 14 of the last 20 quarters, and EPS has beaten 16 of the last 20 with 1 in line. And then the next one on the list is Upstartian. And again, little green shoot after all those reds. Bond still not playing along. Oh, wow. Upstart, very wild. I forgot. Upstart was crazy. Did we hit Upstart this year? I don't know. I think we did. Now that I think about it. So I don't know if we're gonna double. I think we already hit a Upstart this year. That was this year or end of last year. Can we do Upwork too? What do you mean? Upstart, Upwork? Do you mean this is a different? What do you mean? So you can start it up and then you can work it up? How you Upwork and then Upstart? I thought it was a startup. Like a Uber, Adam Newman, you know, the WeWork. Is that what you mean? Or no? Anyways. Consumer credit. $9 billion versus negative 15 last quarter. Estimate was 9.5. So consumer credit 500,000 below. So for Upstart, revenue is expected to be 139.8 million. Guidance was 140. Adjusted EBITDA 4.6 million versus guidance of 5. Adjusted EBITDA margin of 3.3 upside versus guidance of 3.6%. Transaction volume 1.31 billion. Next quarter guidance expected to be 157.6 million. Adjusted EBITDA of 10.7 million. Adjusted EBITDA margin of 7.1 and transaction volume of 1.46 billion. Price history since last close August 8th down 47%. S&P down 4 and XLF down 5. Near-term options imply a 20.8% move. Last 4 quarters, a loss of 34, gain of 35, gain of 28, and loss of 10. Revenue has beaten consensus 9 of the last 11 quarters. EPS has beaten consensus 9 of the last 11 as well. Short interest is 40%. Forward quarter revenue guidance has beaten consensus 5 of the past 10 quarters. So that is Upstart. Where is it? Next one. Oh, that little green shoot already turning too. Oh, wait. Okay, who's this? It starts with a B. Does anybody know who this one is? What earnings starts with a B? Oh, I figured it out. I was like, wait a minute. Plug. I don't think I have plug on my list. Let me go through these. Let's go through the main ones that I've pulled from the calendar. So I'm not doing all of them right now already. I've done Devon Energy. We did Upstart. We got B. I don't think there was one for Oxy, actually. I think that's why I don't have Oxy. We're not going to do Wish. We're not going to do Mosaic, Gilead. Some of you want AXA, and I'll pull that one up. So I just went to Dutch Bros, and then I have Toast, and then Roblox. Rivian, I need somebody to get that for me. I don't have one for Rivian. I don't have one for Oxy. So, and then Accent, I haven't checked, and then the other ones I don't really care about. So, sound good? Sound like a deal? Okay, good deal. So this is Dutch Bros. Quarter 3 expected comp same-store sales 1.5%. Company operated shops 0.9. Revenue 258.3 million. Company sales 231. Franchising 26.9. Company operating shop contribution 29.9. Company operated shop contribution. Company definition 27.8. Franchise margin 63.9. Adjusted EBITDA 40.4 million. Adjusted EBITDA margin 15.6%. EPS of 6 cents. Ending store 790, company operated 504, franchise 285, quarter 4 revenue 251.4 million, company sales 225, franchise 26, revenue expected to be or operating margin. They're too confusing. Just go to franchise margin 60.2. They have one that's like company definition and then X pre-opening. Like, what is this? And then adjusted EBITDA 27.9 million. Adjusted EBITDA margin of 11.11 on EPS of 0 cents. Ending stores 822. Company operated 532 and franchise 290. Price history since our full year guidance, revenue at the lower end of 950 million to 1 billion, adjusted EBITDA 135 to 140 million, comp low single digits, total system shop openings to retain at least 150, of which at least 130 will be company operated, and then capital expenditures 225 to 250 million. Price history since last close August 8th, Bros is down 5.4, S&P down 3.1, XLY down 6.8. Near-term options imply 13% move. Last 4 quarters, a gain of 18, loss of 12, loss of 10, and then gain of 22. Revenue has beaten consensus 6 of the last 8 quarters, and EPS has beaten 5 of the last 8 quarters with 1 in line. Short interest is 24%. You got me, Rivian? All right, we're good to go. We got a Riv. Okay. Oh, that was for what's it called? That was for Bros. How is Dutch Bros? How do you guys like that? You guys still, I don't know, a lot of hype on it. I can't, damn, this thing's been around for 2-3 years now on the market. This one kind of is pinned. You know, if that coffee growth can hit. The extra earnings previews, isn't like A&R? That's for the analyst, and then like ERN for the earnings histories. But the extra previews, it just depends on who covers it. So that's why, like, I could get some of the other ones, like even for the crypto. If you could get a Riot too, that's another one we don't have. But like, I have a full break. I have all the extras for crypto, but I don't have just the simple breakdown for all of them. 4.6, our yields coming back up. All right, so then the next one we have on our list, I got Rivian, but that's going to be moved to the back of the list now, unfortunately. You know, Rivian, it'll be the grand finale since it's so amazing. And then again, yields have given up a lot here. It's kind of interesting. Equities in their own little world, but now equities, I mean, or bonds are just right back to where we started on the day now. So not too crazy. They were getting a little bit impressive there throughout. All right, this one now, Toast. So quarter 3 revenue expected to be 1.03 billion versus guidance of 1.01 to 1.04. Non-GAAP gross margin expected to be 22.8%. Adjusted EBITDA of 20.4 million versus guidance of 15 to 25. So analysts think they'll be right in the middle. Adjusted EBITDA margin of 2% versus guidance of 1.4 to 2.5. EPS of 0.04 cents. ARR 1.2 billion. Gross payment volume GPV 33.98 billion. Next quarter guidance expected to be revenue of $1.03 billion. Subscription revenue service $139. Non-GAAP gross margin 23%. Adjusted EBITDA $12.3 million. Adjusted EBITDA margin 1.2%. EPS of 2 cents. ARR of $1.2 billion. Gross payment volume of $34 billion. And then full year guidance for December. Revenue expected to be 3.81 to 3.87. Adjusted EBITDA of 15 to 35 million since August 8th last quarter. Toast is down 13.5, S&P down 3.1, and XLY down 6.8. Near-term options imply a 13.2% move. Last 4 quarters, a gain of 15, gain of 9, loss of 23, and then a gain of 2. Revenue has beaten 8 of the last 8 quarters. EPS has beaten 5 of the last 8 quarters, and forward quarter revenue has beaten 8 of the past 8 quarters. Ta-da! Toast. Can't fight yet, Riot. I don't think anybody cares about Riot, unfortunately. So I'll read some of the crypto stuff I have. I got analyst comments, but it's very broad. It's not anything specific. So now, your boy Roblo. We were cut to D from SD on announcement of Chapter 11. D for dead. Is Charlie talking in code? He might be. Or his pocket is just going crazy with the Chad. Maybe he's just vibing. You know, let the man vibe. Yeah. Or maybe he touched the off spark. I don't know if y'all familiar with Transformers as of late, but based on that message, it could be he touched a piece of the off spark that looks like some shit that would happen. It's the all spark. No, I got the designer version. It's the off spark. It's like off white, you know? No, the off spark. Yeah, it's hard to explain. You had to be there. Biden tells Netanyahu 3-day fighting pause could help secure release of some hostages. Okay, so Roblo. Y'all ready for this? Bow, down, 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 down. Oh, didn't we have Roblo covered calls? I don't know if I covered those. I did not. Those are up. What are they worth right now? 3 cents? 35 cents? 4? I totally forgot about that. Let me see. Oh, I could buy them back for 4, so I think I'm going to do that. So remember, I sold those 9. Remember, I just have all those old things. That's a $2,000 profit on that. But that was a long time ago. All right, I'm going to buy these back. $27 to close. All right, I closed the Roblox covered calls. Upstart. Dude, I forgot we hit Upstart this year. I don't know what's happened to me. Again, I was only thinking about ANET because that one was recently, but I totally forgot about that. Roblo either goes to 26 or 52. Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, at least I'll be clear into that one, though. We could sell covered calls afterwards. You love Transformers. I do too, man. It's a good series. I like the OG. I like the Shia LaBeouf Transformers. It's great. I even saw the new one, though, too. It wasn't that bad. Oh, Roblo. Got a wheat penny in your change? Haven't got one of those in years. Why does that sound so familiar? A wheat penny. Cart coming up. Where's Netflix? All right. So Roblo, I had to do that before doing the preview. I was like, wait a minute, I'm pretty sure I have a play on this. So Roblo, again, like some of you said, this thing's either going to move tomorrow very high or very low. But as far as Roblo, what's expected, their bookings, $823 million, adjusted EBITDA of $42.3 million, EPS loss of 49 cents a share, ending deferred revenue of $3.03 billion, 2.24 short-term, long-term 1.1, free cash flow loss of 9.2 million, daily active users 69.9 thousand, hours engaged 15.45 million, average bookings per daily user 1188. Since last close, August 8th, Roblo is down 11%, S&P down 3.3%, and XLK is up by 1%. Near-term options imply a 14.6% move. Last 4 quarters of earnings, loss of 22, gain of 7, gain of 26, and then loss of 21. Revenue has beaten consensus 5 of the last 10 quarters, and EPS has beaten consensus 1 of the last 10 quarters. What? So they've only beaten EPS once in the last, 3 years almost. Or, I guess, 2 years, 2.5 years since they've been around. Okay, so now, I think I have one. Where is it? Is that the one? No. Okay, hold on. Okay. All right, now I have your boy Rivian. Woo! We love you! Woo! Free negative free cash flow! Woo! 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 You know, I don't know. Y'all love this one? Are y'all ready for Rivian? Can I see some likes? I don't know. Let me see how much y'all like Rivian, man. I want to see. Do y'all like the video for Rivian? Like, is Rivian like Tony Robbins? Does it get you out of your seat? Like, that's what I'm saying. Does, Rivian get the body moving? Does it get the blood pumping? Like, are you willing? Like, if I'm like, who supports Rivian? Like, are you ready to show your support? Like, oh, wow. That's already 20, 30 Rivian likes right there. Oh, you think it's booty? Oh, you think it's whack? I don't know, man. Dave Rivian, did y'all hear that? I'm just saying. They just said that. You should like the video. Oh, that's 30 Rivians. They disagree with you. They disagreeing with you on the like button, man. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I don't know. They said it was booty. That's crazy. That's crazy. The new Amazon trucks. All right, man. That's 40. That's 40 Rivian people out there. They getting excited. All right, man. All right. Okay, slow your roll. Slow your roll. Some of y'all calm down. Calm the F down. So, Rivian likely finished the third quarter with $8.4 billion in funds on hand, bringing total cash burn for the year to about $4.8 billion. Based on data compiled by Bloomberg, the electric vehicle maker should hit their full-year production target, but may be forced to scale back their assembly rate as demand to EV falters. Bloomberg said in its report due post-market on Thursday. Okay, do you like that? Do you want me to continue? Or would you like me to go back to normal earnings preview, Josh? That one actually took a lot. I need a water. That took a lot of effort. But revenue estimate expected to be 1.31 billion. Adjusted loss per share expected to be 1.32. Loss per share estimate 144. Adjusted EBITDA loss estimate of 1.04 billion dollars. I don't know if that's literally adjusted EBITDA loss expected to be 1.04 billion. Operating expense estimate 1.03, R&D 531 million, SG&A expenses at 489 million, negative adjusted free cash flow estimate of 1.12 billion, capital expenditures of 518 and cash equivalents of 8.37 billion. Production estimate 53,586. Adjusted EBITDA loss estimate 4.03 billion. This is on the year, and then capital expenditures 1.86. Bloomberg, Kevin Tynan, he says the company sold 36,000 vehicles year to date, 91% of output, and burned through 3.4 billion in cash in first half, failing to collect revenue on 9% of the units that came off the assembly line. Average selling price near 90,000 in second quarter run afoul of eligibility criteria for EV tax credits for trucks and may motivate buyers to seek alternative brands. They have 17 buy targets, 6 holds, and 2 sells. Average price target 27.5, 60% upside from current price. Implied one-day shares following earnings. 10% adjusted EPS estimate is beaten estimates for the last 8 quarters. Shares are down 46% in the past year, while the S&P is up 15.3 on the past year. Ta-da! I think we already went over DVA. Is that Devin? Or what do I call it? We went over one of the energy ones. Or is that DeVita? Rivian is blowing up in Miami. I see them a lot everywhere, but I still don't think it's cool. I don't know. There's the only way I could put it. Living DeVita loca. Oh, you talking about DeVita? Yeah, you want Axon? Let me get you Axon. Ricardo, you've been very adamant on Axon. The trucks are not bad. I mean, listen, man. We've had a lot of reality checks lately. Let's just come to terms with it. The Rivians are not cool. Okay? Teslas are super hideous. The Tesla Cybertruck is the most ugliest car in the world, and people are still going to buy it, myself included. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Interest rates are high, and I don't know if this is really a bond rally yet, so that's it. Let's just call it how we see it for now, and then we'll move on from there. Lucid's an overpriced piece of trash. Anything to the contrary, it's okay. You probably bought one, and if you didn't, you were rich anyway, so I don't know why you're mad. So that's it. It's simple as that. It's simple as that. It's bulletproof. I don't know about that. You think I'm going to trust Elon with that? Okay, shoot me. No, don't. I don't trust him. If Crocs can make a comeback, so can Rivians. Wow, I see where you're coming from, but that logic would apply to the Cybertruck. So I don't know where Rivian fits in on this one. It's arrow proof. All right, when was the last time somebody ever threatened you with a bow and arrow or a crossbow? Exactly. Thank you. I've had more guns pulled on me in my life than crossbows. Legit, real stories. That's all facts. So anything, I don't know why he chose to test it with the crossbow with Joe Rogan. That makes no damn sense to me. Makes 0 sense. But it would be nice to have in case that did happen. I guess better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Crossbow would be pretty frightening. I would not be frightened by somebody with a crossbow unless I was in the wilderness. So the most I feel like if somebody pulled a crossbow on me, and somebody tried to break in my house or rob me while I'm driving with a crossbow, I would laugh initially. I would suspect that it was a joke. I would say, "What are you doing, man?" And then I would run them over. That's it. And I would proceed on with my day, and I would report it and say that was a crime. and then go on from there. That's it. Very simple. I'm not dealing with no crossbows. That doesn't happen. That's some weird shit. Crossbows are silent guns. All right. Well, listen, man. If I get killed by like a crossbow, I deserve to die. That's it. Because I probably enraged the indigenous people somehow and pissed off somebody who knows how to wield a crossbow. And that's it. I probably deserved it. Otherwise, I don't, that's it. If I die by a crossbow, hey, I had it coming. That's the only way. It's the only way. Other than that, I'm good, man. I'm good. All right, we're still working our way up here. Enough crossbow talk. NASDAQ is up 1%. SPY's up 0.3. Dow Jones up 0.18. And there's Tessie again. Netflix vertical. Oh, a little bit with Tesla. You got me excited. I thought vertical, I was going real crazy. But 438, that's the price we're looking at. One car for life, Rivian or Prius. Prius, easy. Not even a second. That was no milliseconds of doubt. I'll take a Prius over many vehicles, especially a Rivian. I'll take a 2010 Prius. Fuck it. Okay, never. I'm being a little too dramatic, but even then, 2010 Prius, still a solid vehicle. I said it back in the day. I think the year was 2015. People thought I was kind of weird. I think I shared this with you. But in 2015 was when I discovered that, like, low key, not high key, but very low key, a Prius drives like a S-Class without the engine. It's hard to explain. But the Prius is a very smooth ride. Something about it, bro. It was in 2015. I remember it was just that year of Prius. And I was like, you know what, bro? I was driving an S-Class and then I drove a Prius. And I was like, dude, the Prius actually is very, very smooth. It just don't have the pickup or the engine, but it's like, nah, bro. It was like, I was actually impressed. Prius and S-Class kind of drive alike. That was at least that from research in 2015, based on the Josh Answer study of Priuses. You got an orange Prius 2015. Oh, there you go. I think you got in the right year. I think you got a good one, man. I think you got a good one. PETQ. Do they weigh the same? I don't know, but like they move the same, except the speed. There couldn't be a bigger gap between a Prius and an S-Class. I feel you, man. And it happened. On that day, I drove both of them at the same time. So in the same day, I was driving in an S-Class, and then later in the day, I was driving in a Prius. And as a result, I said, wow, they feel very similar, except when I press the pedal, one of the cars moves, the other one doesn't. I'm sure you could guess which one. So we're pumping until we get into a recession. Not yet, though people are hoping that. Right now, we still got to get past this week. Again, you're already getting the melt up. You're at the higher end. If we really start ripping up here, we'll start gapping up before you know it. But at the same time, if we don't make a clear break of here, again, this whole week, tomorrow with Powell, people are kind of worried because, if this is just the bear market rally, people were very, very quick to call that. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty wild to think about. There were 3 suicides of the LA County sheriffs yesterday alone in one day. One you knew very well, and the 4th one today. No way. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear. But 3 in one day? I mean, that's sketchy. Sean Fain, or President Biden will meet United Auto Workers President Sean Fain during a visit to Illinois. Datadog, JP, they're upgrading it and the stock is up 30%. Savage. Again, market's going up, but I think you are getting that. Yeah, Tesla's running really, really good right now. Again, Tesla's up 1.5. Last time we saw it up by that much, it turned red, surprisingly. Watch if Datadog moves. Again, even Snow and Twilio. Illinois. Tesla looks more vertical. You guys are saying vertical on Netflix, but Tesla's already had that little run up, and now just like another 30, 40 cents here at the top. Oh, there's ELF and then NVO. Okay, I'm going to ride that. Coin's still going up. Did Bitcoin come down from that earlier pop? Uh, 4382. BTC, yeah, that held up. Decent budget plays. I would punt today. I mean, Upstart, I think we hit like 3,000% or something on Upstart. Upstart's good, but I don't know if Lightning will strike twice, but it did on a line, and the other ones we've also hit this year. But I would kind of punt till tomorrow. I think Disney tomorrow, and what else this week? Maybe Disney and Win. Actually, I don't know. Disney, Roblox. Yeah, I think either Dutch Bros or Upstart will be your biggest movers. Oxy might be able to surprise, but shouldn't be too crazy. Not a recommendation. You will lose money. Market's holding up for now. Again, kind of sad you gave up the bonds. Bet ACM. What's that? ACOM? No, I don't know. Oh, Axon. Somebody wanted me to do Axon. My bad. We got a little distracted. So here it is. So Axon, if you want the Axon earnings preview, I don't know if Axon moves a lot. We'll find out now. Quarter 3, they're expected to do $391 million. Gross margin 60.5 category, or we'll skip that. Adjusted EBITDA 76.3 million. Adjusted EBITDA margin 19.6%. EPS of 76 cents a share. Next quarter revenue is expected to be 417 million. Gross margin of 60.5. Adjusted EBITDA of 83.2 million, and adjusted EBITDA margin of 20%. EPS of 81 cents. Full year guidance for the year expected to be 1.51 to 1.53 billion. Adjusted EBITDA margin of 20%. Since last close, they are up 19.7%. S&P up down by 4. XLI down 7.7. Near-term options imply a 10% move. They were last 4 quarters, gain of 14, loss of 15, gain of 10, and then gain of 15. Revenue is beaten consensus 19 of the last 20 quarters, and EPS is beaten consensus 17 of the past 20 quarters. Upstart was 1,000%, 22.5 call. I forgot about that one. Yeah. I sold the first half under 1,000, and then I sold the other one just over 340, and I think we bought them at 20 cents. Yeah, so Align was the 2,000%er. Align was crazy, but I forgot about Upstart. That's actually wild to me. So Axon moves a lot, I guess. Again, last 4, or it's 10% every earnings, and they're pricing in 10. Oh, what? Oh, yeah, we only have 30 minutes. 27. So, yeah, power hour is already kicking, man. So you're kind of coming into the high on this. It's about to be 7 days in a row of green. I don't know how you feel about it. On this 7th day of green, Jerome Powell bring to me tighter financial conditions. He said you should not be rallying right now. The market didn't listen. This, you feel good? This is good, man? You feeling good? Feeling great? Not great. Dropping oil prices. 3 total rate cuts. 175 hike. And Janet Yellen with all the money. The longest streak of green, I don't know, actually. Let's find out. The Dow is up for the 7th. So the Dow, damn, the longest session for the Dow was 13. So the longest streak, I think, was in, where was it? S&P closed up, currently trading at 1, will extend to 9 days. So we hit 9 days in a row in 2013, and then we also had 9 days in a row in November 2004. And then you've had 49 win streaks since 1928. And then to go longer than 9 days, you had to go, and I don't know if this isn't accounting for modern times. This is only just going back again. This is so I don't know what's happened there, but up until like 2015, one has to go back to 1995 to find a streak of longer than 9 days. That's only happened 22 times since 1928. The longest streak ever was April 1971 when the S&P went 14 days in a row without sinking. This is the only. This is also the only occurrence ever where the S&P is closed up more than 12 days in a row. So 12 days is the max. 12 or 14 is the max, but once you hit 12, you go crazy. So again, over the last 500 years, technically, I don't know where they get this from, but it's saying 14 trading days in a row. So after today, we're halfway there. The Dow streak was this year, July. That was 14 days, I think. That's crazy. That's what it says. It says 500 years. I'm reading this article from it. This is an old article. The last time it happened in 2013. Again, I was searching for the info, but I mean, without the Stock Trader Almanac, it's kind of hard. Like there's a lot of articles come up from 2013 when we had an 8-day winning streak. So like if you start searching S&P streaks, you're going to have people talking about today. And then if you go back, everyone's like, 2013 was the last time we saw 7-8 days. So right now we're about where it looks like we're coming back to 2013, unless there was one in 2020. Yeah, so as far as 7 day, we got to go Stock Trader Almanac. As far as like 7 days in a row, that's only happened 51 times in history. Average is about 3.6% gain, and it's about 23% of the biggest winning streaks on just in general. So 14 is the highest. 8 has happened 31 times. 9 has happened 16. 10 has happened 6. Then 12 has happened 5, and then 14 has happened once. January 4th through 18th in 2019, what was that? That's 14 days. Is it? I don't think those are all green days. Man, how far do I have to go back to get 2019? No, you had a red day right here. So, and you had a red day right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How does that factor? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, then 12. That could have been a 12. I don't know. That one's an interesting one. No, just trading days. Yeah, these are all green. I think this one may have, I don't know, that one was a weird candle right there. That's kind of like what we had yesterday, but we actually did close a little higher. Maybe 2019, probably. That one will probably just need to be updated and thrown in there. I think Donald Trump was president. You don't get the same. I think that's what. That's weird that doesn't show up when you search it as much. I see a lot of 2013 articles. Fourth consecutive days. That's what they said. Their best January in 3 decades. The electoral menu stock market? I have no idea. New high? Oh, yeah. Actually, Biden meet with UAW, Sean Fain. You just top ticked that new high, 4.38575. I think it's only like a quarter point higher than the last one. But bonds are still coming down, ironically enough here. So equities in their own little world. Everything else kind of doing good. So let's go, man. 7 days. Looks like you're going to have it. ARC. The premiums are looking good unless they're coming down. Yeah, ARC again, 30 cents to 90 cents. That's great for now, or 99 to $1. 20 minutes. SLB, Schlumberger. Again, you have Oxy after the bell and a couple of the other names, and then Roblo and anything else in the morning. We covered those Roblo covered calls. Where's PayPal? Oh, Bros too. I don't know if any of you guys were going to go for that. The January, they were up a little bit this morning, and then they got clapped again. They're down like 4 or 5 cents, about 30-40% down. Again, we still got a little bit of time, but if anything, Square was the winner. PayPal's been riding off the coattails, but then again, it's just still been kind of small, but Square's been doing good. Upstart could just move a lot if the contracts are still all wonky. Again, we hit a nice play on that at the beginning of the year, but I think, again, it's moved like 10 to 30%, I think, on every earnings. Them and Bros. Bros and Upstart, those move the most. But again, you never could tell with the options or not how the earnings are going to be. That is the $1 million question. All right. I'm going to go to the bathroom. You guys are in for a treat. They're talking about Rivian again. So follow me on Instagram at The Trading Fraternity. I'll see you in a little bit. BRB.
Scale to lower their costs, and they need to get bigger numbers to get into a better cash position. So another question is, will the EV market, will consumers cooperate with them and buy more of them fast enough?
And you mentioned that they're in similar financial positions, but just anecdotally speaking, I feel like I've seen Rivians on the road. I don't know if I've ever seen a Lucid actually out in the wild.
I've seen them. It's a big, expensive sedan. It's actually kind of got a futuristic look to it. They are pretty cool. Rivian's selling much higher numbers. They've had $1 billion in revenue already. Supposed to sell 52,000 this year. That's pretty good for a company that's starting up like this. But when you look at, in the grand scheme of things, you've got to get to hundreds of thousands to start getting economies of scale for something like an EV program, and it's going to be a while selling vehicles that start at $72,000 to get to numbers like that.
You're based in Detroit, David. What do people in Detroit think about Rivian and Lucid? I mean, are they concerned about it at all? Do they see it as a future competitor, if not right now?
They did learn their lesson from sort of hoping Tesla would just go away, which is what was happening for years with the domestic auto companies. But Tesla's still the company to beat. And the way I look at Lucid and Rivian is, these are EV startups that have to raise money. They're sort of like the EV operations of Ford, GM, Toyota, without this big internal combustion business that prints money to fund it all. So eventually they're probably going to have to go back to the street to raise more money because right now they're just a cash-losing business that's trying to grow. Ford and GM have the same issues growing their EV business that Rivian and Lucid do, but again, they've got this big legacy business that is going to be around for at least a decade, probably a couple of decades, that makes a lot of money.
Saudi Arabia's public investment fund owns the majority of Lucid. Is there a sense that they're going to have to come in and support the share price, support the company even further?
They very well could, and I think that does maybe give a bit of a floor to Lucid. Rivian's had Saudi backing as well, and so there's speculation and hope, maybe both, that the Saudis would be in for a dime, in for a dollar on these companies to keep them going to eventually get scale so that they've got a hand in that technology and in that market.
And just zooming out a little bit, reading some of Bloomberg Intelligence's write-ups of what to expect for Rivian in particular, they mentioned that we could see falling demand for EVs in general that could lead to a scaled-back assembly rate. Talk to us about the demand for EVs, because it feels like, again, this arms race to get your EVs out the door, but is the demand really there?
There is demand, but let's be careful about this. When people talk about falling demand, what we're seeing right now is falling growth rates. So EV sales are still growing. Rivian sales doubled. That's very good. They're still at small numbers. So you are seeing growth in EVs. Tesla's still seeing growth, but Elon Musk said on the last earnings call, he mentioned affordability.
Elon. And the market, again, you got your Rivian, man. You are in for another treat. He seems a little bit more favorable towards Rivian. One more point higher on the market now. So 1.12 on the NASDAQ, 0.46 on the S&P, and Dow Jones 0.3. I think everything, it's slightly more names are red still on the SPY, believe it or not. Dow is literally 50-50. NASDAQ is 29.72, 29 red. And S&P 272 red, 230 in the green. My goodness. And again, this will be our 7th day, and you got about 14 minutes left. New high. The bonds stopped playing along, but they're holding up. Dollar had some positive movements, and now a couple of names getting ready for earnings or already post-earnings. They're doing their thing. Dollar was, so don't forget about that. And now the good news, you have burned this day. You have gone through the day. You didn't really burn it. You've gone through the 7 hours, and now you've had the market do this. We're about to keep the whole record and all of that. But now you got Powell tomorrow. So that's the good news in all of this. Your uncertainty does not have to wane much longer. You get to see by, again, I think he's going to be on at like 12 or 1, like middle of the day tomorrow, or I think 30 minutes or an hour after the bell. So either middle of the day or morning for Powell. But then we're going to really see what he says about the rates and not, or maybe I don't want to jinx it, actually. Do you guys want me to jinx Powell? I could jinx Powell right now if you would like. I don't know. This would probably be the least favorable event that we could get tomorrow. I don't know if you want it. Do it. No? Okay, they said no. Even though every other person said yes. So here's the thing. Powell, the worst case scenario in a weird way, would be if Powell comes on tomorrow and then barely addresses monetary policy. It'd be even worse if it says that he has nothing to do with monetary policy, but let's say he has a talk and then it's kind of like Lori Logan's speech today, and then he kind of drops a couple of things in there at the beginning, but then borderline just says absolutely nothing. And then Powell acts like he doesn't see anything and just lets you keep going. And then now you still are in the same position. But then again, lately, every time that's happened, everybody would just brush it off. So I wonder if lack of comments on monetary policy would be able to neutralize it all or not. So we'll see. We will see. He's 15 minutes before opening bell. Jackson, hold tight beat. I know it's either early morning or like smack dab in the middle. We'll see. What is 9:15. It says 15 minutes before the bell. And then you have Powell, and there's another speech at 2 p.m., but a lot of people haven't talked about that. That one's the next day. So yeah, it does say, yours says 10:15. Mine says 9:15. I don't know if this is still messed up due to what's it called? If it's still messed up due to 9:15 Eastern. Corn pop like Joe Biden or like the commodity? Yeah, I don't know. I think there's WASDE numbers on Friday. It could be anything. Oh, crypto. Bitcoin. Yeah, there you go. Beetle. Boom. Oh, yeah. Actually, corn pop. That's what he meant. Bitcoin making another candle there. Interesting. And then once again, remember we were talking about that just a couple of weeks ago, that it's very rare for the NASDAQ to not catch up with a Bitcoin rally. I don't know if you guys remember. We did a little overlay. I think it was right before we ripped. Yeah. Remember we were talking about that? And we were saying this whole year, there's been very few instances where Bitcoin would rally, and then the market would be down, and then we kept dumping, and then literally Bitcoin was up, and then sure enough. So they're kind of matched up right now. That's the interesting part. How about Bitcoin on the high? All right, so 5 points off of the high there again. 10-minute rigged just over there in the last 20, 30 seconds. I don't know if it'll be finished by opening, but if it's pre-market, it'll be very interesting to see. Pre-market is going to be weird. I hope he's talking while the market opens, because if not, he could cause one reaction pre-market, and then just the opening bell cash open could just totally blind all of it. Honestly, I think tomorrow is going to be a shit show to a degree, depending on if it is in the morning and if that has any overlap. It's just going to be weird regardless, because you're going to have to juggle with Powell as well as juggle, again, right off the open. Spix at 9:15 PST. So if that's before the bell, it's going to be interesting. Coinbase running and Beto still as well. They're all going crazy. I think Powell wanted to make sure he could still affect long-term rates. I think he knows he can. I mean, so far, we just got to see if he addresses it clearly or not. Big red chicle, 10-minute rigged, baby. So again, you just finished the minute there, but bro, you just dumped. What was that? So again, you just literally hit the new high after hitting that first little low there after like 2 hours, and then you rocketed up to the high, or kind of melted up there in 30 minutes, and then here in like what? Solid 5 minutes, you just gave up all of that. Again, bonds, like I said, they were kind of tripping out all over the place. They weren't really reacting. So we'll see. No trades in the ham. You could if you high risk, high reward, but I'm just saying it's going to be trippy tomorrow, because you're going to have to deal with whatever the cash open is. How many times do you watch things open up, and then it moves one way pre-market, then it moves one way the first hour, 30 minutes, and then the other. You're going to have to deal with all of that, not to mention just whatever Powell says and brings up. And, Powell is either going to have a stern warning, or he's either going to bless the bulls, or he's going to be very, very, very opaque and not give us much, and then kind of leave us in this weird, awkward mix. And then we close out, rely on the rest of earnings and then consumer sentiment. And then we just see ultimately what the bonds do. But even for now, today was a good day in bond land after yesterday and the last couple of days. You are still continuing the rally. And then literally by tomorrow morning, baby, we'll have a lot of info. I would take opaque. We'll see, but last time he was opaque, I mean, he got bullied by Nick Timmerhouse and everybody else. So I wonder if he's going to show his hand to how he feels about even the little rally since that meeting and everything else in between. It's going to be exciting. Alrighty. Bro, Beto, crypto's still going. Very interesting, though. Crypto launch on that 10-minute rig. Crypto launches up, and then the market just dumps down here. And then you are back. Now you're just lower than where you were prior there. So before hitting a new low, you literally hit a new high. So giving a little bit of everything for everybody on that. Massive cyber attack in ALS Troslia. What's that? Bitcoin 1 in 36. It's still going insane right now. Pretty wild. Wait till 10 minutes to pump the puts. Well, we just had final 5 there. If that takes us down, I mean, I don't know. Are you going to close red? You got 5 minutes to go down 0.19 Dow May ended streak. You literally just gave up 14 points there, 12 points in like 10, 12 minutes. Final 5 and everything. And oh yeah, look at the time. And the new guy, he is going to be here. So Chattadonia, you only got a little bit of time here left. When I say earmuffs, that is your signal to mute your speakers if you have sensitive ears. Why? Because a new guy comes on here, he closes us out for the day, but he is extremely loud. And in the process of being extremely loud, people have reported bleeding eardrums, dormant baby back bitch coming to life, and other medical and physical problems that have arisen. So we want to make sure that you are safe, healthy, and just keep you in the game. And above all else, too, we want you to have a good experience here as you are tuning in. So thank you for being here. But when you hear me say earmuffs, that is your moment to step out, mute the mic, or whatever it is. Otherwise, it's also your moment to turn it up and get ready, baby. So get ready for it, Chad. Get ready. Not too much time remaining. Not too much time remaining. I'll let you know. The code word is earmuffs. That is the word you're looking for. Earmuffs, earmuffs, earmuffs. All right, man. I was going to say, is it going to make us go red right before close? That would have been crazy to the streak. All right, Chad. Earmuffs. This is your time. Mute, 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 mute. Earmuffs, earmuffs, earmuffs. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're making our final approach. As we make our final approach, you guys are holding on to any bags. Please stow them in the overhead bins above or firmly beneath your seats. We'll be coming through the aisles with the trash bag if you'd like to dispose of those bags. But as we make this final approach, we're going to be landing here into the second link terminal. Second link terminal description, that's going to be your nightly watch list and main channel layover. Around 4 p.m. Pacific time, then we're going to be taking on promptly around 6 a.m. out of sunny San Diego, California. As we make this final approach into San Diego International Airport, it's about 66 degrees and sunny, looking like a beautiful day, especially if you thought the stock market would continue into a historic consecutive day rally. Some people don't like it as well, too. I could understand why. But the good news is we're no longer under COVID guidelines until the election, so no masks are required, but we do ask that you exit one row at a time and drop a GG on your way out. As always, we appreciate you guys' business. If you're interested in the Cole Rapid Awards program card, please flag down your flight attendant, and we'll get you that as soon as possible. As always, thank you for flying with the Colt, and hopefully have a wonderful evening. Oh, man. Chattadonia. It's time to wrap it up. It's time to bring it home. That's it. Tomorrow morning before the bell, you're going to get POW. So you really got to finalize everything because you have 1 minute. Go, 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 go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to wrap it up. Bring it home. Finalize those plays. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Powell in the morning. Earnings after the bell. Even more earnings after the bell tomorrow. Then you're going to find out. Are the bonds keep rallying? Does everything go down? Are we going to do 8 days in a row? 7 days in a row of green? Haven't seen this one in a minute. What are you going to do? You have less than 20 seconds remaining. So Chattadonia, finalize it. Bring it home. Less than 10 seconds. Again, if it's earnings, remember, Powell opens up before the bell. Earnings, they're all before, after the bell. If it's options, you got to finalize. Less than 4 seconds. Oh my gosh. 2, 1. Ding 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 ding. Horn, let's go, baby. Oh, the horn's giving out. The horn is giving out, Chattadonia. But it's okay. We did it. We made it. 7 hours in the books. You're here right now. I need good sportsmanship. I need you to show what's up, baby. Drop that GG right now. It don't matter who you are. It don't matter if you made money or lost money. I know you learned something. Everybody that contributed brought something to the table. News, info, plays, laughs, good personality. Respect to fellow Chads, baby. Good game. That's what I'm talking about. Everybody holding it down in the game. Members, non-members, stream alerts. It don't matter. Did you contribute? Did you bring something?